Taking a look today at putting Ford Mustang disc brakes on Ford Ranger axle. These are the so-called SN95 caliper and disc and mounting brackets from a 94 to 2004 Ford Mustang. On the Mustang, these brackets bolt on this side of the flange, and conveniently Ford used the same bolt hole pattern as for the drum brake. The trouble is that you put this on this side, the caliper is much too far outboard for it to line up with the disc. So I didn't think of this. What guys do is cut on these yellow lines and drop this thing in from behind to move the caliper inboard, and then it more or less lines up with where it needs to be. You're down to 3 bolts, not 4, and this backside is not a precision surface. Ford machines this presumably perpendicular to the axle axis, but this side is again not a precision surface. So cross your fingers. So here's what it'll look like. I haven't cut this yet, but this whole thing will drop down, get bolted on from the back. Here I wanted to show, this is the so-called anti-moan bracket. Apparently these brakes make a moaning sound, and I'm guessing this was a second thought by Ford to stop the moaning sound. This attaches to the axle with the U-bolt. So again, that'll go about there, but dropping down through the slot as this is turned into a C shape on a bandsaw. Also, I might make note, I've got to build some kind of a bracket to hold this hose and bracket combination. I've seen in the internet some guys just weld this right to the axle. I think that's kind of crude. I'll make a bracket for it. I'm not sure what material this is. It certainly looks like a casting to me, but whether it's cast iron or nodular iron or even cast steel, I don't know. And if I want to weld this piece back in after it's on the back and then it would be trapped on there, I need to figure out what material this is and if I can weld it. Another curiosity, you put the left side bracket on the right side and the right side bracket on the left side, so the calipers stay in front of the tires, and so the caliper, where it used to bear down on here, will bear down on a different surface. Where the anti-moan bracket was attached, the caliper will be, and vice versa. And again, hopefully Ford kept this nice and flat relative to this, so it won't introduce inaccuracy. Here I'm showing how the anti-moan bracket, and I just learned this moment, fortunately has about the same diameter as the Ranger axle. Looks like it belongs there. I might have to trim some of this because my leaf spring perch is right here, but this looks like it's going to be a good fit. I don't have bearings in here, so this is just sort of flopping around, but that's the disc. And what I haven't completely figured out, there's a gap here. I'll have to find like one of those wheel-centric spacers, or maybe make my own. Again, on the internet I saw a guy just took an 1/8 inch thick strip of metal and bent it into a circle and jammed it into that opening. On the Mustang axles, this is a tight fit and the disc is centered on the axle. The Ranger axle is smaller here, and so I need to find some kind of a spacer to fill in the gap. If anyone watching has ideas, I'm all ears there. Lastly, and not that important, here's the hydraulic plumbing off of the Mustang axle. Conveniently, it's got one of those bolt vent combinations to hold this brake tee on. So I'll drill and tap a hole for the bolt vent combination and kill two birds with one stone there. If I remember correctly, the Triumph has the brake line on this side, so this is about where this will go. And I'll likely have to, I'll likely have to bend some S-turns into this line to make up for the narrower length of this axle compared to the Mustang. But got all this stuff off of a single Mustang axle, everything I need virtually to put disc brakes on the Ranger axle. Thanks, and be sure and watch my other videos.